Hey ho, sing hey ho, to the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey ho, the holly. This life is most jolly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. I missed the last week. I had an acting gig performing at a kid's birthday party, which was fun. I was telling people about, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that despite missing a week, people didn't forget about us. I got a pretty decent turnout. Got myself, Bill, John, Sheila, Henry, and Maggie all here to perform randomly chosen monologues and scenes for you guys. Randomly chosen, of course, by the Wheel of Shakespeare, which we will find that here to share the screen. And here it is. Here is the wheel, which we will, and then based on the randomly chosen order in advance, we will, it will, yeah, there's the one. Bill is going to perform first for us. I'm on deck. I will perform after Bill does. Spinning for Bill. Titania, these are the forgeries of jealousy. Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1, approximately 81 lines in, and I believe these are the forgeries of jealousy is how it begins. Let me create the banner for Titania. Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and never since the middle summer's spring met we on hill and dale, forest or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margin of the sea to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But with thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore, the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge, have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which, falling in the land, have every pelting river made so proud that they have overborne their confidence. The ox hath therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The plowman lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field, and crows fatted with the Murrian flock. The nine men's morris is filled with mud, and the quaint mazes in the wanton green for lack of tread are undistinguishable. Human mortals want their winter here. No night is now with him or carol blessed. Therefore the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air, that rheumatic diseases do abound. And through this temperature, we see the seasons alter. Hoary headed frosts, far in the fresh, lapping of the crimson rose, and on old Hyam's thin and icy crown, an odorous chaplet of sweet summer buds is, as in mockery, set. The summer, the spring, the summer, the chiding autumn, angry winter, change their wonted liveries, and the mazed world, by their increase, now knows not which is which. And this same progeny of evils comes from our debate, from our dissension. We are their parents and original.
Okay, nice job, Bill. Okay, so it is my turn now. I will go, and then let's see. Henry. Henry is on deck. He will perform after I perform. What will I perform? The Wheel of Shakespeare decide. I am going to do. The Lumiere. Nay, go not from me. Coriolanus's mother. Again, not to destroy Act 5, Scene 3. Nay, go not from us thus. If it were so that our request did tend to save the Romans, thereby to destroy the Volsces whom you serve, you might condemn us as poisonous of your honor. No, our suit is that you reconcile them. While the Volsces may say, this mercy we have showed the Romans, this we received. And each in either side give the all hail to thee, and cry, be blessed for making up this peace. Thou knowest, great son, the end of war's uncertainty, but this certain, that if thou conquer Rome, the benefit which thou shalt thereby reap is such a name whose repetition will be dogged with curses, whose chronicle thus writ, the man was noble, but with his last attempt he wiped it out, destroyed his country, and his name remains to the ensuing age abhorred. Speak to me, son. Thou hast affected the fine strains of honor to imitate the graces of the gods, to tear with thunder the wide checks of the air, and yet to charge thy sulphur with a bolt that should but rive an oak. Why dost not speak? Think'st thou it honorable for a noble man still to remember wrongs? Daughter, speak you. He cares not for your weeping. Speak, thou boy. Perhaps thy childishness will move him more than can our reasons. There's no man in the world more bound to his mother, yet here he lets me prate like one in the stocks. Thou hast never in thy life showed thy dear mother any courtesy, when she, poor hen, fond of no second brood, has clucked thee to the wars and safely home, loaden with honor. Say my request's unjust and spurn me back. But if it be not so, thou art not honest, and the gods will plague thee, that thou restrainst from me the duty which to a mother's part belongs. He turns away. Down, ladies. Let us shame him with our knees. To his name Coriolanus longs more pride than pity to our prayers. Down, an end. This is the last. So we will home to Rome, and die among our neighbors. Nay, beholdest this boy, it cannot tell what he would have, but kneels and holds up bands for fellowship. Does reason our petition with more strength than thou hast to deny it. Come, let us go. This fellow had a Volscian to his mother. His wife is in Corioli, and his child like him by chance. Give us our dispatch. I am hushed until our city be afire. And then I'll speak a little. Okay, see. All right, so it is now Henry's turn, and then Maggie is on deck. She'll go after Henry does. Henry is going to do... King Edward, have I atoned to doom my brother's death? Is Edward IV, Richard III, Act 3, Scene... Richard III, Act 2, Scene 1, upon hearing of Clarence's death. 4. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Have I a tongue to doom my brother's death, and shall the same give pardon to a slave? My brother slew no man, his fault was thought, and yet his punishment was cruel death. Who sued to me for him? Who, in my rage, kneeled at my feet and bade me be advised? Who spake of brotherhood? Who spake of love? Who taught me how the poor soul did forsake the mighty Warwick and did fight for me? Who told me in the field by Tewkesbury when Oxford had me down, he rescued me and said, "Dear brother, live and be a king"? Who told me when we both lay in a field, frozen almost to death, how he did lap me even in his own garments, and gave himself all thin and naked to the numb cold night? All this from my remembrance, brutish wrath sinfully plucked, and not a man of you had so much grace to put it in my mind. But when your carters or your waiting vassals have done a drunken slaughter and defaced the precious image of our dear Redeemer, you straight are on your knees for pardon. Pardon! And I unjustly too must grant it you, but for my brother not a man would speak, nor I, ungracious, speak unto myself for him. Poor soul! The proudest of you all have been beholding to him in his life, yet none of you would once plead for his life. Oh God, I fear thy justice will take hold on me, and you and mine and yours for this. Come, Hastings, help me to my closet. Oh, poor Clarence. See?
Okay. Great job, Henry. It is now Maggie's turn, and then John is on deck. First, Maggie is going to do... wild card. So what would you like to do?
Okay, I am going to be from Richard II. I am going to, let's see if I can get this right.
Which character in Richard II?
I'm going to be the Duchess. I hope. I'm trying to find, hang on, it's going to take me a second because I want to be the Duchess of York. Where is she? Duchess of York. And I'm going to cobble together a couple of things.
That's perfectly fine. That's
okay.
Cool. We might get new ideas to put on the wheel for in the future from that. Okay,
Yeah,
so when it's ready, with
she's
compilation of whatever stuff for this character, go.
okay. All right. O King, believe not this hard-hearted man. Love loving not itself, none other can. Forever will I walk upon my knees, and never see day that happy sees, till thou give joy, until thou bid me joy by pardoning Rutland, my transgressing boy. Pleads he in earnest? Look upon his face. His eyes do drop no tears, his prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. He prays but faintly and would be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all beside. His weary joints would gladly rise, I know. Our knees shall kneel till to the ground they grow. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of true zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers do outpray his. Then let them have that mercy which true prayer ought to have. Nay, do not say stand up, say pardon first, and afterwards stand up. And if I were thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon should be the first word of thy speech. I never longed to hear a word till now. Speak pardon, King. Let pity teach thee how. The word is short, but not so short as sweet. No word like pardon in kings' mouths so meet. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. I love how that wild card always gives a chance for somebody to do something that I hadn't thought would be good to put on the wheel, and they introduce us to something new that that ends up being usually a very good choice, like it was here. Okay, so it is now John's turn, and then Sheila. So first, John is going to do. Samuel, how all occasions, this is the actual monologue, the one that's usually cut for most productions, but it's good for a standalone piece. Commenting on Act 4, Scene 4, how all occasions do. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Okay. See now, people see me. Okay, I have a habit of not being on the screen. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he hath made us with such large discords, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which, quartered, hath but one part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know. Why, yet I live to say, this thing's to do. Sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed make mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep? While to my shame, I see the imminent death of 20,000 men that for a fantasy and a trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot where the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the stain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so our final monologue before we spin the wheel for scenes for the six of us will be done by Sheila. And Sheila is going to do Portia. This isn't her famous one. This is their second best monologue for Portia. I pray you, Terry. This is before he chooses the ring. I mean, before he chooses the box. Portia. Yes, I pray you, Terry, Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene 2. So whenever you're ready, go ahead with.
I pray you, Terry, pause a day or two before you hazard, for in choosing wrong I lose your company. Therefore, forbear a while. There's something tells me, but it is not love, I would not lose you. And you know yourself, hate counsels not in such a quality, but lest you should not understand me well, and yet a maiden hath no tongue but thought, I would detain you here some month or two before you venture for me. I could teach you how to choose right, but I am then forsworn, so will I never be. So may you miss me. But if you do, you'll make me wish a sin that I had been forsworn. Beshrew your eyes, they have o'erlooked me and divided me. One half of me is yours, the other half yours. I know I would say, but if mine, then yours, and so all yours. Oh, these naughty times put bars between the owners and their rights. And so, though yours, not yours. Prove it so. Let fortune go to hell for it, not I. I speak too long. But 'tis to pise the time to eke it and to draw it out in length, to stay you from election. Scene.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're ready now for some scenes for the six of us. Again, we made the change a couple weeks ago. We're gonna the same order rather than the reverse order. The same order we performed our monologues in will be the order in which you get to choose your role of the six that we spin, that the wheel finds for us. Okay, measure for measure. That's Act 2, Scene 4, Isabella and Angelo. And this is the one where she confronts him, and it ends with the who will believe the Isabel. Okay, Hamlet. This is Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3, and this is 3 actors. I think it starts with it's 3 characters. Laertes and Ophelia, I believe, start the scene, and then Laertes leaves, and when Polonius comes in, and it's the 2, and I think we can do the whole scene that way. So Laertes, Ophelia, and Polonius. So that's 5 roles. The 6th role will be doing a second monologue. So the 6 choices for the 6 of us are Isabella or Angelo in Act 2, Scene 4, Laertes, Ophelia, or Polonius in Hamlet Act 1, Scene 3, or doing a second monologue are the 6 choices. And Bill gets the first choice of those. What would you like to do, Bill? Bill, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Polonius, please.
Okay, so Bill's going to be Polonius. I will take I got to take Angelo. I'm taking Angelo. Henry. Henry, what would you like?
Isabella?
Henry's going to be Isabella. Maggie, what would you like? We've got Laertes, Ophelia, or a second monologue still left.
I will, I guess I'll take Ophelia.
Okay. Maggie will take Ophelia. John, do you want to take Laertes or do you want to do a second monologue?
I'll do a second monologue.
Okay, so that leaves Shelia. So Shelia will be our Laertes. And when we've done these two scenes, we'll go back to the first wheel and spin for another. Okay, so create the banner for this. Find where we're going to start. Let me see. Is it the whole scene? Is just the two? Let's make sure. Yeah, it looks like we can do the whole scene then. There is a servant. Let's see.
I don't see any other part here.
Okay, yeah, there's a servant. One Isabel. So I'll start with the exit servant, then oh heavens, and then Isabel enters and say, "How now, fair maid?" You found that place?
Okay.
You know where we are?
Yes, but I'm trying to remember the plot.
Yeah, this is basically where he's Angelo is that he'll spare her brother's life if she'll sleep with him. And,
it's that one. Okay, yes, right, very good.
and
Okay.
now she's going to confront him about that, expose what a fraud he is about the holier than thou person. And okay. Oh heavens! Why does my blood thus muster to my heart, making both it unable for itself and disposing all my other parts of necessary fitness? So play the foolish throngs with one that swoons, come all to help him, and so stop the air by which he should revive. And even so the general, subject to a well-wished king, quit their own part in obsequious fondness, crowd to his presence, where their untaught love must needs appear offense. How now, fair maid?
I am come to know your pleasure.
You might know it would much better please me than to demand what 'tis. Your brother cannot live.
Even so. Heaven keep your honor.
Yet may he live a while, and it may be as long as you or I, yet he must die.
Under your sentence.
Yea,
When, I beseech you, that in his reprieve, longer or shorter, he may be so fitted that his soul sicken not.
ha! Fie, these filthy vices! It were as good to pardon him that hath from nature stolen a man already made, as to remit their saucy sweetness that do coin heaven's image in stamps that are forbid. 'Tis all as easy falsely to take away a man's true maid as to put metal in restrained means to make a false one.
'Tis set down so in heaven, but not in earth.
Say you so? Then I shall pose you quickly, which had you rather that the most just law now took your brother's life, or to redeem him, give up your body to such sweet uncleanness as she that he hath stained?
Sir, believe this, I had rather give my body than my soul.
I talk not of your soul. Our compelled sins stand more for number than for account.
How say you?
Nay, I'll not warrant that, for I can speak against the thing I say. Answer to this. I, now the voice of the recorded law, pronounce a sentence on your brother's life. Might there not be a charity in sin to save this brother's life?
Please you to do it. I'll take it as a peril to my soul. It is no sin at all, but charity.
Please you to do it at peril of your soul, or equal poise of sin and charity.
That I do beg his life, if it be sin, heaven let me bear it. You granting of my suit, if that be sin, I'll make it my morn prayer to have it added to the faults of mine, and nothing of your answer.
Nay, but hear me. Your sense pursues not mine. Either you are ignorant or seem so craftily, and that's not good.
Let me be ignorant, and in nothing good, but graciously to know I am no better.
Thus wisdom wishes to appear most bright when it doth tax itself. As these black masks proclaim and enshield beauty 10 times louder than beauty could displayed. But mark me, to be received plain, I'll speak more gross. Your brother is to die.
So,
and his offense is so, as it appears, accounted to the law upon that pain.
true.
Admit no other way to save his life, as I subscribe not that, nor any other, but in the loss of question, that you, his sister, finding yourself desired of such a person, whose credit with a judge, or our own great place, could fetch your brother from the manacles of the all-building law, and that there were no earthly mean to save him, but that either you must lay down the treasures of your body to this supposed, or else to let him suffer. What would you do?
As much for my poor brother as myself. That is, were I under the terms of death, the impression of keen whips I'd wear as rubies, and strip myself to death, as to a bed that longing have been sick for, ere I'll yield my body up to shame.
Then your brother must die.
And 'twere the cheaper way. Better it were a brother died at once than that a sister, by redeeming him, should die forever.
Were not you then as cruel as the sentence that you have slandered so?
Ignominy in ransom and free pardon are of 2 houses. Lawful mercy is nothing kin to foul redemption.
You seemed of late to make the law a tyrant, and rather prove the slighting of your brother a merriment than a vice.
Oh, pardon me, my lord. It oft falls out to have what we would have, we speak not what we mean. Something do excuse the thing I hate for his advantage that I dearly love.
We are all frail.
Else let my brother die, if not a feodary, but only he, and succeed thy weakness.
Nay, women are frail too.
Aye, as the glass where the few themselves, which are as easy broke as they make forms. Women, help heaven, men their creation mar in profiting by them. Nay, call us 10 times frail, for we are soft as our complexions are, and credulous to false prints.
I think it well. And from this testimony of your own sex, since I suppose we are made to be no stronger than faults may shake our frames, let me be bold. I do arrest your words. Be that you are, that is a woman. If you be more, you're none. If you be one, as you as well expressed by all external warrants show it now, by putting on the destined livery.
I have no tongue but one. Gentle my lord, let me entreat you speak the former language.
Plainly conceive, I love you.
My brother did love Juliet, and you tell me that he shall die for it.
He shall not, Isabel, if you give me love.
I know your virtue hath a license in which seems a little fouler than it is to pluck on others.
Believe me, on mine honor, my words express my purpose.
Ha! Little honour to be much believed, and most pernicious purposes seeming. I will proclaim thee, Angelo. Look for it. Sign me a present pardon for my brother, or with an outstretched throat I'll tell the world aloud what man thou art.
Who will believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, and my place in the state will so your accusation overweigh that you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny. I have begun, and now I give my sensual race the rein. Bid thy consent to my sharp appetite. Lay by all nicety and prolixous blushes that banish what they sue for. Thy brother, by yielding up thy body to my will, or else he must not only die the death, but thy unkindness shall his death draw out to lingering sufferance. Answer me tomorrow. By the affection now guides me most, I'll prove a tyrant to him. As for you, say what you can. My false always your true.
To whom should I complain? Did I tell this, who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them under the self-same tongue either of condemnation or reproof, bidding the law make courtesy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother, though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honour, that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'd yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then, Isabel, live chaste, and brother, die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request, and fit his mind to death, for his soul's rest.
Okay, that was awesome. So now we have Sheila, Maggie, and Bill to be Laertes, Ophelia, and so you've all found.
I have mine, yes.
So we'll just go from the top, and I'm Bill. I'm going to take you out because it starts before Thelonious comes on. So I'll put you on when the time's right.
All right.
Okay. So whenever you guys are ready.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the wind gives benefit and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more, but so?
Think it no more. For nature, crescent, does not grow alone in thews and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now. And now no soil nor caudle doth besmirch the virtue of his will. But you must fear his greatness weighed. His will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state, and therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal. Then weigh what loss your honor may sustain, if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The chariest maid is prodigal enough, if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not calumnious strokes. The canker galls the infant of the spring too oft before their buttons be disclosed. And in the morn and liquid dew of youth, contagious blasphements are most imminent. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else is near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long. But here, my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard. For shame, the wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory see thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware an entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man. And they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan often loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night to day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you. Go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is't, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly, as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up to truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection? Phew! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby. that you have ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tend yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
Fashion, you may call it. Go to.
And hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the vows of heaven.
Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. I do know, when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise, as it is of making, you must not take for fire. From this time, be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence. Your entreatments at a higher rate than a command parley. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. And few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorers of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This for all, I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slender any moment leisure as to give words or talk with Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Okay, great. So we have another monologue for John, and that's I didn't realize. It's it's really Ophelia's on stage the whole time for that scene, but first it's her with Laertes who does all the talking, and then it's her with Polonius that does all the talking. I should have marked that one as a one where we won't take. So I'll let Maggie do another monologue as well. Because she barely participated in that one. So we have one more monologue from John, and then one more for Maggie, and then we'll call it a day. So John is going to do his second monologue. Philip the Bastard, Mad World, Mad Kings. And that's the very long Act 2, Scene 1, but it's at the very, very end after all the other characters exiting, reflecting on what just happened. So, Sylvester, Act 2, Scene 1 of King John.
Okay. 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 King John. Okay, bear with me here. Act 2, Scene 1, did you say? Act 2, Scene 1, please?
Yes,
yes,
at the very end. The long scene, and then once all the other characters leave and he's reflecting on what just happened.
I wish I knew. So all the way at the end, you say? Okay. All right. Mad world, mad kings, mad composition. John, to stop Arthur's title in the whole, hath willingly departed with a part, and France, whose armor conscience buckled on, whom zeal and charity brought to the field, as God's own soldier, rounded in the car with that same purpose changer, that sly devil, that broker that still breaks the pate of faith, that daily break bow he that wins of all, of kings, of beggars, old men, young men, maids, who, having no external thing to lose but the word maid, cheats the poor maid of that smooth-faced gentleman tickling commodity, the bias of the world, who of itself is pised well, maybe, made to run even upon even ground, till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, this sway of motion, this commodity, makes it take head from all indifferency, from all direction, purpose, course, intent. At this same bias, this commodity, this bawd, this broker, this all-changing word, clapped on the outward eye of fickle France, hath drawn him from his own determined aid, from a resolved and honorable war, to a most base and vile concluded peace. And why rail I on this commodity? But for because he hath not wooed me yet, not that I have the power to clutch my hand when his fair angel should salute my palm, but for my hand, and unattempted yet, like a poor beggar, raileth on the rich. Whilst I am a beggar, I will rail and say there is no sin but to be rich. And being rich, my virtue shall be to say that there is no vice but beggary. Some kings break faith upon commodity. Gain be my Lord, for I will worship thee. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, lastly, we have one more performance by Maggie, and she is going to do Lancelot Global. Certainly my conscience will serve me to lead.
To certainly my conscience.
Yeah, so I think that's the very beginning of the scene, Act 2.
All right, I'll take a look.
Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it's going to take a second. I haven't even opened the play yet. Merchant. 2-2. Okay. Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew, my master. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobbo, Lancelot Gobbo, good Lancelot, or good Gobbo, or good Lancelot Gobbo, use your legs, take the start, run away. My conscience says, no, take heed, honest Lancelot, take heed, honest Gobbo, or as aforesaid, honest Lancelot Gobbo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me pack. Via, says the fiend. Away, says the fiend. For the heavens rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run. Well, my conscience, hanging about the neck of my heart, says very wisely to me, honest friend Lancelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, for indeed my father did something smack, something grow to, he had a kind of taste. Well, my conscience says, Lancelot, budge not. Budge, says the fiend. Budge not, says my conscience. Conscience, say I, you counsel well. Fiend, say I, you counsel well. To be ruled by my conscience, I should stay with the Jew, my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil. And to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend, who, saving your reverence, is the devil himself. Oh, certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnal. And in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience to offer counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel. I will run, fiend. My heels are at your command. I will run. Thanks for that.
Great. So great performances today, everybody. Thank you for performing, and glad to see you again after we missed last week, and hope the rest of the people watching enjoyed the show today. And we'll see you same time next week for the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. Bye now. Take care, everybody.